The way social media came up so fast and my life changed drastically in a few years. I always knew that as fast as something can come up, it can go down. So I wanted to build something that would be longer lasting. I wasn't able to do it all. I was really running myself too thin. So I think I really did help pave the way for what it is today and for it actually becoming like a respected career form. It's come such a long way. I see like the way influencers are respected now, and the girls on TikTok, they're celebrities. It wasn't like that.
How do you feel about having kids? Do you want to have a kids?
I always put 100% into everything that I do, and I know becoming a mother will be no different.
For sure.
So
today we have Shea Marie with us, CEO of Same, entrepreneur, and OG influencer. You were the first one, you know that, and we all know that. Thank you for being with us.
thanks for having me.
I don't know where to start with you because I want to ask so many questions that I actually want to know myself, and even though we're like best friends, everybody, she's my best friend. But I think what really, really always interests me about you is your passion for fashion, your passion for being better, being ahead of everyone. So I think we need to start from your childhood and how that passion kind of grew into you. So what can you tell me about your childhood? Did you feel like your childhood was happy? Did you feel like you wanted to get out of the house? Did you feel like you wanted to leave? Or like, how was the feeling of your childhood and your home?
I had a really beautiful, normal childhood. My parents are still together. We always did things as a family. I don't remember there ever being like conflict or trauma, so I feel very lucky to have had that. I grew up in a small country town in California, but like inland California, so not what people think of when they think of California. And we never had anything in excess. We've like a very normal life. We went on like one family vacation a year, and my parents, I think, always instilled in me to work hard, and I was very smart in school, and so they wanted me to do well and go to college, and it was very much that kind of follow the American dream.
Okay, so you were you're from San Diego, right? So around San Diego area. So you still grew up in the beautiful weather in California. So don't say little town. It's not like Russia or Brazil, like projects, But so how did you get to LA? Can you tell me like that transition? So you went to school, right? And it was medical school to start with. And then you transitioned into marketing.
Yes. So I went to a college that was very great for medicine because I wanted to be a doctor, and I was very good.
What kind of doctor you wanted to be?
A dermatologist.
You wanted to be a dermatologist? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I still love skincare and just the medical industry in general. But so I started off kind of doing undergrad in biology, and I think at some point I was young too. I graduated high school really early. I graduated college a year early. So I think just at that time in my life, I was like barely 20, and it was hard to really know what you wanted to do at that time.
But you knew you wanted to live home at that moment, like when you finished, the college.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm out of here.
Yes. So at some point, I always wanted to move to LA, but I kind of wanted to finish college first. And then at some point in my 4 years at college, I decided that I wasn't as interested in kind of being in the medical field as I thought. And I was like, I want to work in fashion, but I felt like there was no way for me to do so.
Why did it change? Because I feel like you're going to be like a badass, like plastic surgeon or something. That would be so cool.
I do think that I would have loved that. I just think at the time I was young and I wasn't ready for something so serious. And I was having fun. I wanted to like move to LA and have fun. And
do you regret this decision that you kind of quit medical? Or
no, because it all worked out. It all worked out in the end. But I think I would have been a great doctor as well.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
because you're great in everything.
Stop. So at some point in school, I decided that I was going to switch my major and focus on PR and marketing. And I was interning at an advertising agency in San Diego, and I met some girls who worked at a movie studio. And right when I was graduating college, they were like, our boss has an opening, so if you want to apply. And so I applied right when I graduated college, and I ended up getting the job, and I had to move to LA basically the next week.
Wow. And where that job was?
It was at the Weinstein Company, which when I tell people that, they're like, oh my gosh, tell us more.
How was it for you? Yeah.
So I worked in the LA office, and the Weinstein Company was based in New York. So most of the like higher ups worked there. I worked in the PR department, and it was really, really tough. It
Really
was, when I explained it, I'm like, it was worse than the Devil Wears Prada. It was,
That's a good.
it was hard. And there were many times when I would go to the bathroom crying because I was,
They were just mean. And
it was mean.
And it was like film people, right? It wasn't fashion.
No, it wasn't fashion. It was film. It just was, it felt very, and I was young and I didn't know a lot. And I remember, I didn't know who a lot of these celebrities were or people or big editors. And I was always kind of made
So they were picking on you a little bit too, because you were young and kind of like,
yes, I had just moved. Yeah, I just moved from San Diego, and I didn't know a lot about the industry. So it was very hard and it was very mean. And I always remember thinking, if I owned my own company one day, I would never treat my employees this way ever. Like I want a very positive work environment. I don't want people to feel scared. And I was scared there every day. And so I worked there for about a year, and I knew I wanted to do something else, but I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any money. At the time I was working for $12 an hour, which was minimum wage at the time.
At that office?
At that office,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I shared an apartment. I shared a bedroom with another girl.
With whom? Do we know her?
No? Oh, well.
Did she end up being your friend forever or not really?
Chrissy was one of them. Yeah.
Oh, she was.
Yeah,
Chrissy.
but she was my
Okay.
childhood friend. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but we had, like 4 girls living in a 2-bedroom apartment. And
Wow.
basically I wasn't like barely making enough to pay rent. And so I always knew I wanted to get a different job, and I wanted to work in fashion, and I loved fashion, but I didn't have any money and I didn't have any connections. So it was really hard to do so. And so somebody told me along the way, I honestly don't even remember who it was, because I was like, I'm trying to get a new job, but I don't have anything to put on my resume and I don't have any connections. And they were like, you should try making a website and see, put there like your inspiration. Because if you just send in a paper resume and you have nothing on it.
Can you tell me the year when that started for you?
This would have been like 2010.
So that was before Instagram. It was 3 years before Instagram, right? Because Instagram was 2013 or something.
It was before Instagram.
It was
yes.
before Instagram.
There was no
So
Instagram.
It was the blog. Okay.
So, I mean, there was Facebook, but other than that, there wasn't a lot of social media, and there wasn't, I think Facebook was just for your friends. There was nothing that was like showcasing for
Or like
just
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't about like showing your life for anyone who wants to view it. So I started this website, and I was posting things from magazines. It was kind of like a Tumblr, I guess. It was inspirational images, things I liked, things that I thought were cool in the fashion industry. So I would also include some photos of myself in there, and which is kind of how it ended up becoming a blog. Yeah. At the time, I didn't even know what a blog was. But yeah, so I was including a few photos of myself. I was very kind of hippie and earthy back then.
Do you feel like you... Sorry to interrupt, but do you feel like you already had a good style or sense of style, or you look at your pictures back then and you're like, oh my gosh, like how did I even get where I am?
Now when I look back, I say, oh my gosh, it looks like a girl at her first Coachella. I was wearing flower crowns and crochet, but at the time it was cool and it was trendy.
Okay.
And I was thrift shopping and wearing a lot of kind of like flowy old maxi dresses and crochets and.
So you feel like it was good for the time, appropriate, right?
Yeah.
For that time.
It was a little Western in the mix too, a lot of fringe. So
you like Western?
I still like Western,
It's very polished Western
yes.
these days.
It's very minimalistic, sleek Western. But at the time it was popular. And what I started noticing was that people were resharing my photos onto other websites, onto other blogs, onto Tumblr.
Pictures of yourself.
Yes.
More
so than the inspirational images I was pulling from magazines or other websites. And it kind of, was a cannonball effect to at the height of it, my website was getting like 1 million views a day. That happened over a period of, I would say, 4 or 5 years.
Okay, did you start making money yet?
No.
Or you didn't know how to do it?
No.
Yeah, at that point, no one kind of made money off of blogs or websites.
Didn't make any money for the first few years. And then I started getting a few emails from brands, which was the very beginning of brands looking into influencer marketing. And the first thing that I did ever that was like a big deal is I did a commercial for Forever 21.
Oh, wow.
And
they used to have a lot of money.
Yeah, I did it for free because I didn't know. I was so excited for the opportunity. I had no idea what commercial models were making. I had no idea. So I was so excited it was going to be on a billboard. It was on a billboard in Times Square.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I would say that was probably maybe 2012, 2013, maybe 2013.
Amazing. Yeah. I had no idea.
And after that, I got an agent after that. A
modeling agent? What kind of
No,
agent?
they were the first kind of influencer agency, and they reached out to me. It was amazing what they were doing at the time and the way that they changed the industry for influencers. And it was really good for me for a long time. And I think, they saw that commercial and they were like, how much did you get paid for this? And I was like, oh, I did it for free. And they were like, no, you need a team that's going to help you. And it's going to help you monetize this and turn this into a career. And at some point I quit my job because I couldn't do all of it. So I stopped working at the Weinstein Company, but I still wasn't making enough money to live at all.
So the agency helped you to get deals?
They were helping me get deals, but they were very, very minimal amounts at the time. It wasn't enough to live on. So at night I was working at a bar.
Yeah.
And just to pay my bills because I really believed in it. I really thought this was going to go somewhere. And I could see like the buzz that was being created on the internet and people. There was about 10 of us, 10 girls who were kind of big back then. You're thinking like Chiara Ferragni, Ami Song, girls who have built, amazing, wonderful careers who are also my friends. And so there was just a small handful of us that were doing it at the time, but I could tell it was going to be a big thing and I really wanted to commit to making it happen.
So you really, really, really was the first one from the group of the girls.
Yes, I would say was the original group of
for sure.
OG influencers.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I have goosebumps.
It's come such a long way. I see like the way influencers are respected now and the girls on TikTok, they're celebrities. It wasn't like that for us. So it was really, really hard.
It was kind of embarrassing to be an influencer,
were mean
right?
and they looked down upon it. They didn't respect it in any way as a career form.
For sure.
So I think I really did help pave the way for what it is today and for it actually becoming like a respected career form.
Okay, so how did you translate from like an LA influencer to, sitting first roles on Versace show, Gucci show, like that something must have happened there,
When I first started going to Fashion Week, it was kind of right as street style was becoming really big. And there was a point where it was actually more important. It was cooler to be involved in street style than actually the show. And I was going to all these shows and starting to get photographed outside them. And then I had my best friend and we were going together and we kind of always sort of matched our looks. And it was very much this kind of like match with your bestie moment. And they were, these images were being used everywhere, from Vogue to all the online magazines. And so it became a really popular thing to be photographed outside of fashion shows.
I remember the street style years. It was like 2016, 17, right? Mm-hmm. Was it?
Yep.
Was it around time when we met?
Yeah.
You were doing like really heavy fashion weeks. And I remember you were like traveling with all these suitcases, always stressed and that. But I think we missed out something. You started, I know you were always smart. And like I said, you were always looking how to, what to do next, like, your business. I know you wanted to like always have your business and kind of not be dependent on other people, tell me if I'm wrong. But how did the idea of Same was born? Was it after your street style days, but I think it was before.
It was about right before.
Right before,
So
okay.
the way social media came up so fast and my life changed drastically in a few years, really. Like I went from, I had basically never been to Europe, and then I was traveling all over the world in a matter of 2 to 3 years. And so I always knew that as fast as something can come up, it can go down. So I wanted to build something that would be longer lasting.
That's why you are you. You're
Stop.
so smart.
Stop.
I know.
So yeah, I always knew I wanted to start a brand, and I had a friend who owned a swimwear factory, and it was just kind of, I didn't know what I was doing back then also. So it seemed like a safe option of something to try.
It came together. Yeah.
And I had an idea of something I felt like hadn't been done before. And so I designed it and we created it together and we launched the brand. And within the first year, everyone was wearing it, from Kendall Jenner to Hailey Bieber. And it just made it it put it on the map as a brand to watch.
And you got popular, tell me if I'm wrong again, was the studs, right? The stud bikini was
they were white and black suits that had triangle stitching all around them.
Huh.
Yeah.
You have to send me the pictures.
It was the original suits, and everybody was wearing it. And
you were promoting on like your Instagram
promoting
first,
it
right?
on my Instagram.
I remember you
Yep.
were. So before I met you, I you came up on my Instagram and I was like, wow, this girl has such amazing hair. So, I always have to think about like my hair and your hair. So I went into your page and that's how I found your swim.
Okay.
So even before I met you, but I remember those like study ones.
That was like our second collection with all the little triangle studs.
But what I was like, wow, this girl really has the best job. So that's before I knew you.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this girl has the best job. She owns the bikini brand and she gets to travel with her friends and with her hot girlfriends and like take pictures. And that was like big thing of your branding, right? You would like take all your pretty friends and you guys shoot and have margaritas on the beach. And I think that was like before everyone was doing that, like Revolve and everyone doing all these trips now. But I feel like you were the first one to actually do those trips without like really planning on it,
We always wanted to have fun with the brand. And my business partner, he's one of my best friends. And then we would hire all of our friends and we kept it in the family. And we would hire our friends who were models to go on the photo shoot with us. And we'd hire my brother, who's our photographer, who shoots for us all the time now. And we just really did keep it in the family and had fun with it. And for the first 4 years, though, of Same at least, it wasn't being run like a real business. It was just kind of for fun, and we were messing around, and we didn't really know what we were doing. And it took a lot of time and a lot of ups and downs and a lot of failures to like really get it to a place where it is today.
So I feel like in the last couple of years, it became like a real focus of your life because you did step down from being a fashion influencer, right?
Yeah.
Why?
I wasn't able to do it all. I was really running myself too thin. When you're going to all the fashion weeks, people think it's not a lot of work, but you think it's 2 months out of the year, and then and then if you're also doing couture and the other things, you're spending up to 3 months out of the year traveling just for Fashion Week alone. You can't run a company and be a CEO of a company if you're gone and during that time, I wasn't even barely able to look at my phone because I was taking so many other jobs from brands.
Yeah.
You're running from show to event all day long, and it's just like I had to kind of at some point make a decision what was going to be my main priority. I'm also someone that prefers to be behind the camera. I'm not someone that's like seeking attention. I'm not a look at me person.
Yeah.
I much more enjoy being like the creative, the businesswoman behind the scenes. So at some point, probably maybe around 2019, I was like, okay, I don't want to do the whole Fashion Week circuit anymore. I want to kind of tone down how many influencer projects I'm doing. I still work with some brands, and like I would definitely go again to Fashion Week, you know, for one specific project, but I just don't have the time to be able to do it like I used to.
And did you feel like it helped your brand to grow?
Oh, absolutely. The second that I started focusing on it full time and, making sure it was operating like a real business should. And, for so many years, we didn't do anything. We didn't do PR. We didn't do marketing. We didn't do advertising. And at some point, I had to focus on making
You did all those
become a real
billboards around the town.
Yeah.
Those were really
so
great.
now we're doing a lot. And then I think the biggest change for us was we used to sell to all the different stores. We were in every store, Bergdorf's, Harrods, Neiman Marcus, Saks, everything.
You were?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
Amazing.
All the big like luxury stores. And then during COVID, all the stores canceled their orders.
Oh, wow.
And so that was like a really scary point for us because all of a sudden we had all this inventory and we didn't have any money coming in. And so but it ended up being the best year for us because like our D2C business really grew and our online sales like quadrupled. And
for some reason, COVID was like so big on bikinis, right?
it was. And I have the theory that, women weren't spending money on dresses and heels and all the things that they usually spend their money on because you couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
The only thing you really had to look forward to was maybe like laying out in your backyard or, if you were lucky to live by the coast, you could go to the beach. And so people were spending money on like comfy leisure wear and swimwear. And so
sportswear did really well.
Exactly.
So, I remember that.
So COVID was so it was good for us in that sense that it really helped us build our D2C business. And then we decided after that to focus on that and not go back into retailers. And so now we're solely a D2C business, and we've grown over the past like 3 years. We've grown like exponentially, and it's been amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's exciting. And now we finally like have budgets to do fun things and exciting things, and we're putting up billboards, and we're going to open a store later this year. So there's a lot coming.
Where? In LA?
Probably in the design district in Miami.
In Miami?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think it's the best place for the brand to start.
Wow,
I think
it's
going
to be huge for you.
Yeah, so that's exciting. And we just launched denim. We're launching ready to wear. We just launched a kids line.
That was my next question.
Oh,
Shoes.
okay.
Okay, so you just launched jeans. Why? Why jeans? I know you were working on some clothing too, but tell me a little bit of your next steps, I guess, in your career.
So we've been working on launching ready to wear for a while, and denim was always going to be a part of that, especially since we're a California and LA based brand, and LA is the denim capital of the world, and we have access to the best denim factories and everything. So we wanted it to be a part of our ready to wear collection. It just happened to be ready before everything else. So we decided to launch it first, kind of as its own thing. But we're using the best denim in the world. Comes from the top denim mill in Italy, and then the factory that we use to produce the denim. I'm not like, because of the contract, I'm not allowed to say names, but it's like the biggest luxury brands that you can think of. So we're not cutting any corners. It really is the best, highest quality denim you can buy, and everything was thought out, from every little button and all the special embellishments. And the idea of it is to be simple, chic, but well made and beautiful, and something you can wear all the time. So
just like you, right?
Stop.
Is your kind of like vision for your like empire, for your brand? What are you envisioning?
I would like to do it all. I would love to get into footwear and also do bags.
Oh, wow,
and
amazing.
so I want to kind of expand the brand, but do it slowly and carefully and thoughtfully and tastefully. I never want to put out something that I don't love. And so sometimes it could take us a year to design one thing sometimes, especially when we're like launching our first dresses, and I want everything to be perfect. And I'm learning a lot about this whole process too, because we've been doing swimwear for 10 years, but clothing is completely different, and it's
so you want to make sure
factories.
it's perfect. You want to make sure it's something that everyone will love, and not just like try to like make quick cash, which kind of like how I feel like the biggest brands, the more successful brands, is if you put like your kind of soul into it versus just trying to do something for money, And I feel like you always been that way. I think one of the questions that I really, really, really don't understand about you is like, where do you get your inspiration? Was your like you just came out with like this black amazing bikinis, but they're just like, the design is insane. Like, where do you get the inspiration? Do you like sit on like internet for like hours, or you just like in your head? Like how that works for you? How is the like kind of like art process works for you? Creative process?
This is always a hard question to answer because sometimes I just don't know. And I think style is really something that comes from within, and it's an art, just the way some people are gifted in, playing an instrument, and you don't really know how you can do it. You just can. And I think for the most part, I design for myself. Like I design for a girl like me. And I look for things in my closet that I'm missing that I wish I had, and then I go make them. Maybe, I don't know, I see something somewhere. It could be anything. It could be a necklace. It could be a handle on a doorknob. And I'm like, oh, that would be really cool in swimwear. It could be anything. It can be very random sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I have all these folders on my phone and my computer I've saved of pictures I take and ideas. And
then you sit down and you draw it yourself. An idea, you're like good at it, or you just like explain it to someone who can like draw it well?
I would say I try to draw it, but I'm not great. Like I'm good enough to get the point across. And then we obviously have a team of like pattern makers and sample makers that help with that. But pretty much everything like starts from some vision that I have.
Okay. You show them inspiration of pictures.
And I do like a very like rudimentary sketch, like very like
your
minimal.
Sketches. They're not like terrible.
No. I would say most people consider it good, but it's not great.
They're not great because you're perfectionist, and they're not great for you, but they're like great, Okay, so you just launched Samesies. How do you pronounce it?
Samesies.
I always said
kind
Samesies.
of like, like how kids wear onesies?
Onesies, like Samesies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's
it's also something people say. It's like a cutesy thing. If I were to say, oh, I'm going to the beach today, and you could be like Samesies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
so it's a kids swim brand, right? That you just came out with.
Yeah.
So congrats on that. It's so cute. I can wear it for my girls. I can wait for my girls to wear it.
Thank you. We're excited about it.
And my podcast is about mothers.
Yeah, I was only invited on here once I had the kids swimwear brand.
Exactly.
No.
But I guess you can say, oh, why she's on it? She's not a mother. But I know you went through so much in your life in terms of like kids and relationships and all that stuff. And do you want to share your latest kind of venture about it? Like, how do you feel about having kids? Do you want to have a kids? Is there something that you're looking forward to, or you're like, I'm fine. I just have my like. What is it there for you in that spectrum of your life?
Yeah. So I definitely want to have kids, but I think I've always been somebody that wants to find the right partner first. I have friends that from, as long back as I can remember, were like, I'm having kids no matter if I have to do it alone, no matter whoever I find. Yeah. But I've always been someone that's been like, I want to find the right partner first. And also I think I was putting my career first for a long time. And I was so busy, right? So I haven't felt like I've had a lot of free time in my life. And I definitely admire all moms, and I know that it probably is the hardest job on the planet. So it's definitely going to happen for me, but just hasn't been the right time yet. But definitely something that I think about. And I know I mentioned that I would talk about this as well, but as soon as I turned 30, I knew that I wanted to freeze my eggs. I'm very lucky that I have the ability to do so, but it's also I worked very hard and I saved up my own money to be able to do that. And it's something that's important to me. I'm very into medical science and advancements. And I wanted to have, I had friends who were older than me, a few years older than me, and were having a really hard time getting pregnant. Yeah. And had said to me, like, if I was your age, I would freeze my eggs right now. And so it was something that I made a priority to do so.
That's amazing. So it wasn't like the society pressure kind of, it's just how you really felt inside, right?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a smart decision for me. It made me feel safe, I guess, because I was, I wasn't ready to have kids right then, but I was like, what if in a few years when I am ready, I'm having, it becomes difficult for me.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like an insurance policy for my future. And I know that people have so many different thoughts and feelings about it. And for me personally, it was a great decision, and I'm so happy I did it.
It's very like you, it's very practical and very smart. I feel like that's what it is, How was it on your body? The whole process, was it like emotional? Did you gain weight? Did you feel nothing? How was it for you?
I was so scared to do it because I had read so many things online that just terrified me and so many kind of horror stories. And of course, everyone has a different experience. But for me, it was much easier than I thought it was going to be. I was lucky in that I had a very good experience and a good outcome, and everything went smoothly. And I didn't really gain weight. I think the last couple days you feel pretty bloated, you feel very tender. I always describe it kind of like, when you get sick and your lymph nodes are swollen, it kind of felt like that, like very tender and swollen. I think I had to do it for about 9 days or so.
Does it kind of feel like you're getting period? Is that kind of the feeling? When you get like bad
Crampy
periods,
a little
like
bit.
crumpy, like your breast
but only
hurts?
on the last couple days. So you're giving yourself shots. I think it depends on how fast your like follicles are progressing. But it can be anywhere from 8 days to 14 days of shots. I was on the lower end, which was nice. But so it wasn't until the last few days that I really started feeling like maybe just like a little bit PMS-y. And a little bit crampy, but it was
Like pregnant?
no,
pregnant?
I wouldn't know. But it was definitely bearable. I would do it again in a second. I wish I wouldn't have been so stressed about it.
I know, because I feel like it's such a big thing for some girls, when you pass that mark of like 29, 30, and you don't have the partner, or you're not ready to have kids, and it's like, oh my gosh, what I do next? You know? And I feel like having that safety that you can have child any time in your life. Like our friend just had her child 45, so it's like the full life ahead of you, and you just have
it really allows you to have time and not feel constrained by age, which is really nice, especially for anybody who wants that, but like especially if you want to focus on your career a little longer. And also a lot of big companies are now, because it is so expensive, a lot of big companies like Apple and Facebook are covering the cost of egg freezing for women if they want to stay like in the workforce longer and not.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like around 30,000, right, to freeze your eggs?
Yeah, I think 20,000 or so is
20,000,
mine.
Yeah, it's definitely not cheap.
It's not. It's really, really expensive, and I definitely feel lucky I was able to do it.
Yeah.
But I prioritize that over other things I could have like spent my money on.
You just moved back to LA.
I just moved back to LA, and I'm in a nice relationship, and so we'll see. I mean, it's definitely going to be, I know that when I do start a family, it's going to be like a big life change. I'll always work because it brings me joy and happiness. And I definitely, want a partner who supports me working, and we support each other. But of course I'm going to have to cut back, and I understand that. And so we'll see. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, like in terms of being, a leader, a good influence, good morals, good values, and all of that, I'll be an amazing mother. But there's some things that I definitely need to work on for sure. Like I'm used to living for myself, and I'm used to being on my own time, and I don't love people in my personal space. So that's, those are some things I'm going to have to work on. So I think, but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I think when you do become the mother and you like give the birth to your child. I didn't really love kids before, and now I'm obsessed with my kids. It's like all I ever want to do is just like sleep with them and cuddle them. So I feel like you maybe feel like that, like right now. And I feel like you're someone told me something really good, is that your creative fire, you would always have to feel it because the way you are, because I know you. But once you do have kids, you'll change a little bit, Motherhood just changes you.
I believe it completely. And
it's just,
I always put 100% into everything that I do. And I know becoming a mother will be no different.
For sure.
So,
and I know your children will have the best style.
I know everybody's like, you're making these, this swimmer line for kids. Where are your kids to put them on? But they'll be coming.
I wanted to talk a little bit about your like beauty regimen, because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's rude things to say, but I feel like you look so much better now than you looked like 10 years ago.
I think that, there's a few things. I think confidence is a big factor in it. I think when I was younger and like, especially in my early 20s, I was kind of insecure. And as I, grew up, I gained a lot of confidence. And I think that shows. I think my style has matured in a very like chic, classy, beautiful way, effortless. So I think it's more than just like looking at someone's face. It's kind of the total package that makes someone beautiful. Obviously, I think that over time, like, yes, as you get older, you lose fat in your face. So that can change your face shape. And being in front of the camera for so many years, you learn your best angles. You learn your best everything. You learn how to do your makeup, what makes you look the best. You learn how to overline your lips or whatever the little tricks are, or where to contour and this and that. And of course, I do Botox, and I've done like minimal fillers at times, and I do facials and all those kind of things. But I think over time, especially when you're always looking at yourself, you kind of learn how to make yourself look the best. Whereas maybe 10 years ago, I was new at kind of all of this. I didn't know how to pose. I didn't know what side was my best side. And so you learn these things over time. So, and exactly, like I didn't know how to pose. I would just walk on a red carpet and do this big cheesy grin, and that wasn't like my best angles and best side. And so, and of course you have bad photos and you have good photos, and everybody has that. And sometimes you're like leaning over in a weird way and it makes you look bigger than you are. The camera adds pounds.
But
you know
also
how it goes.
street style is hard. Like street style is like so harsh on you. Like sometimes I look at my pictures and I'm like, okay, I'm done with it.
Yeah, like you don't want to. No, sometimes, and that's the thing. Like you really have to have tough skin to kind of be in an industry where you're looking at yourself all the time and people are judging you and people are commenting on your life. And I've always been weirdly a very private person. I don't talk a lot about my private life. And
I know, I'm so grateful you would agree to sit down with me, because I'm like, I don't know, Shea.
I was nervous before because I usually don't talk about my private life.
Something that I wanted people to know about you is how working you are, because you know, looking at your Instagram, you don't see it. You don't see behind the scenes. You don't see like your creative your creative time. You don't see like how much you spend on computer. Like you just see a beautiful picture of Shea, right? Or her end product.
Exactly.
So I think like, you know, you talking like about your life and like your journey, it was really important for me to show that you're like one of the most like hardworking people I know. Every time I try to call you, you know, you're just like I can't, I'm working. I'm like, oh, this girl.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions about me, and maybe it's because I don't share my day to day, but it's kind of boring. It's literally me in the office every day. But I also feel kind of like I don't have anything to prove to anybody, and to me it doesn't matter so much what people think. But it is nice when someone compliments me on my work ethic, because that's very important to me. And
for sure.
We just actually hired a new girl, and she was telling me last week, she was like, I'm so impressed that you're in the office every day. She's like, I've worked for a lot of different brands, a lot of like founder, influencer, celebrity brands. And she was like, no one does this. Nobody does this. And like, you're literally in here and you're going to UPS with us. You're doing the smallest job to the biggest job. And like, I've always been like that. And I consider my employees like my peers and my teammates. I never want to seem like the boss. So
to like better than them.
Yeah.
That's what Nicole Tromfia also said.
Really?
She's like, you kind of have to do the dirty job and then the job of the boss, and that's how you really build a successful company, you know? Okay, Shea, well, you know, I'm proud of you, and I'm like really, really always kind of like need level-headed advice. I always call you just so you know that. It's like, I need to call Shea for the real deal.
She'll be honest and she'll be sane.
For sure. She'll be honest, and she won't be emotional. She'll tell me the truth, not what I want to hear. So I'm grateful I have a friend like you, and someone who I definitely look up in business part of everything. And you're beautiful. I'm jealous of your hair.
Thank you for having me. I love supporting other women, and I love supporting my friends, and I love what you guys are doing. So I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.